Then FCK is given, FP is given, write those things. FCK is equal to 35 Newton per mm square and FP is equal to 1500 Newton per mm square. Okay. Now I will just go to the previous problem. In the previous problem, we have assumed width and depth, right? What we have assumed, width of the beam is equal to half of the depth we have assumed. Okay. Similarly, here also we will assume width is equal to, or width of the flange is equal to, assume width of flange or width is equal to 0.5 d. Okay. And width of the web is assumed in between 20 to 30% of the width of the flange. Okay, I will go to the theory part here. Okay, the flange width, the web width is assumed as 20 to 30% of the width of the flange. BW is equal to 0.2 to 0.3 B is there, guidelines. What we will do, we will assume in between value. Okay, we will assume 0.25 times B. Okay, assume and BW is equal to 0.25 B. Okay. Now we have the formula for ultimate moment for the flange section. Here, see, if you assume BW by B is equal to 0.2 to 0.3, okay, you will get the moment equation from 0.08 FCK BD square to 0.12 FCK BD square. Okay, for 0.2 it will be 0.8 FCK BD square. For 0.3 it will be 0.12 FCK BD square. So we have assumed 0.25. So here also it will be in between these two values, that is 0.10 FCK BD square. Okay, no problem. Even if you assume these values 0.2, if you assume, you will get this formula. 0.3, you will get this problem, this formula, that is 0.12 FCK BD square. So as I have assumed 0.25 here, the formula for moment will be, therefore mu is equal to 0.10 FCK BD square. Okay. Therefore mu is equal to 0.10 FCK. B we have assumed it as half of the depth, that is 0.5 d. I will substitute here 0.5 d into d square. Okay. Therefore mu is equal to 0.1 into 0.5, it will be 0.05 FCK d into d square d cube, right? So moment is known. Moment, how much it is given? 1200 into 10 power 6. Substitute here. 1200 into 10 power 6 is equal to 0.05. FCK is given as 35 Newton per mm square. 35 into d cube. By this we will get the depth of the beam. How much will get? How much?
$881.82.
Yes, 881.82 mm. Okay, this is the required depth. Okay, So the same exact depth we cannot provide. We have to, for practical implementation, it should be a rounded value. What I will do is, I will take, therefore, take, you round it up to 1000 mm. D is equal to 1000 mm. You can take 900 mm as well, but I am taking 1000 mm here. Okay, D is equal to 1000 mm. See, if you get to know about the depth of the beam, okay, you can find width of the beam as well as width of the web, right? Therefore, B is equal to 0.5 D. B is equal to 0.5 D. Therefore, 0.5 into 1000. So B width equal to 500 mm. Okay, this is width of the flange. Okay, if you get width of the flange, then you can find width of the web also. Width of the web, how much we have assumed? 0.25 times B. Okay, and BW is equal to 0.25 times B. Therefore, 0.25 into 500 mm is the width. 500 mm is the width. So, what is the final answer? BW is equal to
125 mm.
125 mm, correct. 125 mm. Now we came to know about width of the flange. We came to know about depth of the beam. Then width of the web is known. Okay. Then what else is remaining now? What else is remaining? Depth of the flange we have not yet fixed, right? Depth of the flange is not yet fixed. Let us see the guidelines. Depth of the flange. Okay, that is height of the here height of the flange. For assuming height of the flange, the ratio given is 0.2 to 0.25. Okay, you can assume some ratio there. It is 0.2 to 0.25. Either you can assume 0.2 or 0.25, whichever you feel convenient, you can assume. I will take 0.2. Okay, I will take 0.2. Assume HF by D is equal to 0.2. HF divided by 1000 is equal to 0.2. Therefore, HF is equal to 200 mm. Okay. Now you can write a diagram, or else what we'll do is we'll find area pre-stress is still required. After that, final diagram we'll write, no problem. Now every dimensions are fixed. Okay, depth of the beam. Okay, then width of the flange, thickness of the flange is fixed. Thickness of the web is fixed. I think the fixing of geometric properties of the I section is over. The next step is to find area pre-stressing still required. Right? We have to find area pre-stressing still required. For that, I'll copy the formula, which is given in page number 59. M is equal to FPU into AP into D minus 0.42 XU. Here what we'll assume is here there will be two cases, right? For flange section. For I section and the T section, there are two cases. The thickness of the flange lies within the flange. Okay, that is the first case. Thickness of the depth of neutral axis lies within the flange. That is the first case. Depth of neutral axis lies within the web. That is the second case. Okay. Now what we will do is we will assume that neutral axis lies within the flange. Okay, We will assume that neutral axis lies within the flange. If the neutral axis lies within the flange, so this is the formula what we have to use. M is equal to FPU into AP into D minus 0.4 to XU. From page number 59. M is equal to FPU into AP into D minus 0.4 to XU. Okay. Now what we have assumed here, what is the assumption we have made? We have assumed that the depth of neutral axis lies within the flange. If the depth of neutral axis lies within the flange, then this is the formula. Assume depth of neutral axis XU is equal to HF is equal to, what is the HF value we got? 200 mm. 200 mm. Okay. See what we have assumed. The depth of neutral axis lies within the flange, means exactly at 200 mm we have assumed the depth of neutral axis. Okay. If it falls below the flange, then it will be on the second case, that is neutral axis lies within the web. So what we will assume depth of neutral axis XC is equal to the depth of the flange is equal to 200 mm. So with respect to this condition, this is the respective formula. Now we want this FPU value, right? We want this FPU value. For that, you need to refer the table 11. Table 11 we have to refer. To find this FPU, what you do is, see, depth of neutral axis is known, XU. We have assumed it as how much? 200 mm. And overall depth is also, the effective depth is also known, that is 1000. 200 by 1000 if you do, you will get this corresponding XU by D ratio. Corresponding to this XU by D ratio, you find the corresponding FPU by 0.87 FP. Okay, now what you do calculate is, you calculate XU by D. XU by D. Therefore, XU by D is equal to, XU is 200 divided by depth is 1000. So what is the ratio you will get? 0.2, right? 0.2 is the ratio. Now corresponding to XU by D is equal to 0.2, using this table 11, okay, using this table 11, you find corresponding FPU by 0.87 FP value for pre-tensioning. Sorry, it is a post-tension beam, right? Post-tension beam.
Yes, sir.
Post-tension beam. So you refer this column. So 0.2 means XU by D for post-tensioning. Here we have the value for 0.109 and 217. For 0.2 you make the interpolation. I think you will get one only, right? You will get one only. See here, the XU by D is 0.2. 0.2. We know the FPU divided by 0.87 FP value for 0.109, that is 1.0. Okay. We know FPU by 0.87 FP value corresponding to 0.217, but that is also 1. Corresponding to 0.2 of XU by D value, it will be 1 only, right? It will be 1 only. Correct? From table 11, here you write from table 11, That is for post tensioned case. Post tension case for XU by D is equal to, you can directly write the FE by FE value. XU by D is equal to 0.109, 0.109, the corresponding FPU by 0.87, FP is equal to 1.0. Similarly, for XU by D is equal to, XU by D is equal to 0.217, 0.217 corresponding FPU divided by 0.87, FP is equal to 1.0. Therefore for 0.2 also it will be 1 only. Therefore for XU by D is equal to 0.20 corresponding FPU divided by 0.87, FP is equal to 1. Therefore FPU is equal to 0.87 FP. Okay. The stress in the tendency is given, that is FP value is given, right? FP is given as 1500 Newton per mm square. Now you can multiply. So you can substitute in this formula. Therefore M is equal to, FPU, that is 0.87 FP, 0.87 FP into AP is unknown, AP into D minus 0.42 XU, 0.42 XU. Okay, substitute everything. Only the area of pre-stressing steel is unknown here. The moment is how much it is? 1200 into 10 power 6. 1200 into 10 power 6 is equal to 0.87. FP is given as 1500 into AP into D minus 0.42 XU, 1000 minus 0.42 XU, it is 200 mm. Okay, XU we have assumed as 200 mm. Here it is there, into 200. By this you will get area of pre-stressing steel required.
Thousand 3.86 mm square. 3.86.
Okay, 1003 mm square. Okay, now almost all the design part is over. We have fixed all the dimensions, geometrical dimensions. We have also determined the area of pre-stressing steel required. So at the last you can write design details. Therefore the design details are B is equal to, that is width of flange. B is equal to, width of flange is equal to 500 mm. 500 mm. Then HF, that is depth of flange is equal to 200 mm. Depth of flange is equal to 200. Depth of flange is equal to 200 mm. Then width of web is equal to, how much we got? Width of web BW, it is 125 mm. 125 mm, and effective depth we have taken it as 1000 mm. You can give some 50 mm cover. Assume cover is equal to 50 mm effective cover. So the overall depth, if you want to calculate, it will be 1000 plus 50. It will be 1050 mm. Finally, the area of pre-stressing steel AP is equal to 1000 mm square. Okay, you can run it up to 1000 mm square. You write a small diagram of a I section. Okay, write all the dimensions fixed and the area of pre-stressing steel required in the diagram. You write a little bigger diagram. Here I don't have the space. Width of flange is equal to 500 mm and depth of flange 200 mm. Width of web is equal to 125 mm. Then so this effective depth is 1000 mm and this will be 50 mm cover. Okay, so this is the final design details. I hope you all understood the design of this I section. You need to remember the ranges of the dimensions, means how the width of the beam should be selected, how the width of the web should be selected. Okay, if you remember all these things, then you can easily solve the problem. You can easily do the design. Okay, initially what we have assumed the width of the flange as half of the effective depth and width of the web as 25% of width of the flange. Okay, 50% of effective depth is assumed as width of the flange. 25% of the width of the flange is assumed as width of the web. Okay. Now we have used this moment formula corresponding to this assumption. Okay, 0.10 FCK BD square. B we have assumed as 0.5 D. We have substituted. Finally, we got some effective depth. Okay, then we have assumed a little bit higher effective depth. We have rounded off it to 1000 mm. Then if you get this effective depth, you can easily calculate width of the flange as well as width of the web. Width of the flange is half of the effective depth, 500 mm. Width of the web is 25% of this width of flange, that is 125 mm. Okay. Then this depth of the flange or height of the flange is assumed as 20% of effective depth, 0.2 D. Okay, 0.2 D. So by doing that, you will get height of the flange or depth of the flange as 200 mm. Okay. To the same depth, we will assume the neutral axis depth. Okay, neutral axis depth we will assume 200 mm only, means it is within the flange. Okay, up to flange 200 mm we will assume depth of neutral axis. By that, if you calculate the ratio of XU by D is equal to 0.2, XU by D value will get 0.2. Corresponding to this value, using table 11, we have calculated this ultimate stress FPU. Okay, that is 0.87 FP. Okay, knowing all the parameters, just we have substituted in this formula, you will get area of pre-stressing steel. Okay, finally you need to write design details. So further, if you have any doubts, you can ask. Otherwise, I'll move on to the next problem. Okay, so read the third problem. All of you write. Take 2 minutes time to write the problem. Or
No, sir.
Over, sir.
Okay. So it is a quite different problem than when you compare to the previous two problems. You just go through it. A pre-stressed road bridge of span 10 meter. Okay, the span of the bridge is given as 10 meter, consists of a concrete slab. Okay, concrete slab, not the beam, 380 mm thick with parallel post tensioned cables, in each of which the force of transfer is 360 kilonewton. Okay, it is a pre-stressed road bridge of span 10 meter, and it consists of a concrete slab of 380 mm thick with parallel post tension cables, in each of which force of transfer is 360 kilonewton. Okay, if the bridge is required to support an UDL of 25 kilonewton per meter square, the loading over the slab is given. Okay, loading over the slab, it is load per unit area is given. Okay, usually the load on the slab will be taken like this only, right? Per meter square area will take the load, that is 25 kilonewton per meter square, with the tensile stress in the concrete not exceeding 0.7 Newton per mm square at any time. Okay, at any time means either it may be at the transfer condition or it may be during service condition. Calculate the maximum horizontal spacing of the cables, comma, their distance from soffit of the slab at midspan, and their lowest possible position at the support, assuming 20% loss of the stress after the transfer. Okay, here what he has given is, he has given a concrete slab. Okay, slab having 10 meter length. Okay, and he has given the force in the cables and load over the slab. He has given one condition, the tensile stress in the concrete not exceeding 0.7 Newton per mm square at any time. Okay, at any time. Using this condition, okay, using this condition, what we will do, we will find what should be the spacing of the cables. Okay, and what should be the location of the cable from the soffit of the beam as well as at the support. Okay, all those things we need to find. First, you write the given data. See here, I'll just a diagram for your understanding. If you want at the side, you can write. Okay. A pre-stressed concrete road bridge of span 10 meter. Okay, this is the bridge. This is the span of the bridge. Sorry, width of the bridge. Okay. The span of the bridge is 10 meter. Span of the bridge is 10 meter. And consists of a concrete slab. Okay, this is the slab which whatever I have written here. It is having the thickness of 380 mm. Okay, thickness of the slab is how much? 380 mm. Okay, 380 mm is the thickness of the slab. It consists of parallel post tension cables, in each of which force of transfer, pre-stressing force is given. P is equal to 360 kilonewton. That you write below. P is equal to 360 kilonewton. Nothing but 360 into 10 power 3 Newton. 380, right? Not 360, 380. 380
Sir, it's 360 only, sir.
Just I will check it out. Yeah, 360 only. Here I got confused with the depth of the slab. Okay, it's 360 only. I'll make it 360. 360 kilonewton. And there is an uniformly distributed apply load. The loading over the slab is how much? 25 kilonewton per meter square. The load on the slab is equal to 25 kilonewton per meter square. Now we have to find location of the pre-stressing cable in the slab. Here there are n number of pre-stressing steel provided. Okay, along the cross section. Okay, n number of cables provided. We need to locate what should be the position of the cable. Okay, means what should be the position of the cable from the soffit of the beam at the center. Okay, what should be the position of the cable from the soffit of the beam at the support. That positioning we have to give here. Okay, for the slab. So if you are remembering with the design of the slab, RCC slab, how you used to design the slab there? You used to design it for 1 meter length. Okay, sir, for 1 meter width, right? For 1 meter width, you used to design. Okay, whatever the number of bars or spacing or diameter of the bars you used to get for 1 meter, the same number of bars and same spacing you used to adopt for the remaining span of the slab. Okay, so always what we will do is for making the calculations easy, we will design it for 1 meter width. Okay, we will incorporate the same design details for the rest of the width. Okay, for every by considering every 1 meter length. Okay, so what you do is you divide this slab into 1 meter width. Considering 1 meter width of the slab, okay, so what we'll do, we'll locate the position of the cable corresponding to 1 meter width of the slab. Same we will incorporate for the rest of the slab. Okay, this is the basic principle which we follow for the design of any slab. It may be PAC or RCC. Okay, below you write considering you never solved a problem on PAC slab. This is the first problem you are solving. Considering 1 meter width of slab, okay, means 1000 mm, right? 1000 mm. Considering 1 meter width of the slab. Now you what to do is you find area for this portion. Area is equal to cross sectional area. Okay, cross sectional area of 1 meter width, whatever we have consumed. Whatever we have assumed. Here it will be, now it is like a beam only, right? When you assume some specified width of the slab, it is like a, you have to treat like a beam only. Then you perform the design, you incorporate the same design details for the remaining length of the remaining width of the slab. Therefore, area will be equal to 380 mm is the thickness, 1000 mm is the width. So it is 380 into 1000. How much? It is 38 into 10 power 4 mm4 mm square. Okay, this is the cross sectional area of 1 meter width slab. Also find moment of inertia for the same section. I is equal to BD cube by 12 is equal to B is 1000 mm, depth is 380 cube divided by 12. How much? Moment of inertia.
So 4.57 into 10 power 9 mm power 4.
Is 4.572 into 10 power 5 or 9?
9, sir.
9, correct, huh?
Yes.
Because I got 10 power 5. Same value, right?
Sir.
Z is equal to I by Y. Okay. Where Y is equal to distance of top fiber from the central axis, it is D by 2, right? D by 2. The D is 380 divided by 2. 380 divided by 2, it is around 190 mm. 190 mm. So moment of inertia is known, Y is known. That is equal to I is 4.572 into 10 power 9 divided by 190. Or else you can directly use the formula Z is equal to BD square by 6. Okay. What is the answer?
24.06 into 10 power 6.
24.06 into 10 power 6 mm cube. Okay. So instead of following this long procedure, you can directly use this formula as well. BD square by 6. You will get the same answer here. Okay. Now in the problem, he has given one condition. Okay. He has given one condition. That condition is the tensile stress in the concrete is not exceeding 0.7 Newton per mm square at any time. At any time means usually for PSC there will be transfer condition. Okay, that there will be service condition. Transfer condition means the tendons are stretched. Okay, means the pre-stressing is induced into the concrete. Okay, but still it is not subjected to the live load. Okay, that is the transfer condition. Service condition means when it is subjected to the external live loads, then it is called as service condition. Okay, in both the conditions, he said that the tensile stress in the concrete should not exceed 0.7 Newton per mm square. That condition you write it here once. Limiting tensile stress. Limiting tensile stress in concrete at any time. At any time. You highlight this at any time is equal to 0.7 Newton per mm square. Okay. This is the condition he has given. Okay. Now, what we will use? What we'll do? We will use this condition. He said that limiting tensile stress in concrete at any time is equal to 0.7 Newton per mm square. Okay. Now we will take two situations. One is at transfer condition. That is at transfer. What is the meaning of this transfer condition? Just the pre-stress is induced into the concrete, but still it is not subjected to the live loads. Okay, this is the transfer condition. When you transfer the pre-stressing force, pre-stressors into the member, that is called as transfer condition. But it is at this condition, it is still not not subjected to the external loads. Okay, so we'll assume a transfer condition tensile stress in concrete is equal to 0. Okay, I'll go to the model 1 again. I think you all remembering. Yes. Here, at transfer condition, we will assume tensile stress in the concrete is equal to 0. Okay. At transfer, F superior is equal to. See, at transfer condition, the tensile stress will be induced at the top fiber at transfer condition. Okay, here you can see in the basic theory you can understand here. Just a minute. Yes. So this is the transfer condition. Okay. This is the transfer condition. Only dead load is there. Okay. Only dead load is there and pre-stressing force is there. At this condition, when you induce the stresses into the concrete, then the top fiber will be subjected to the tension. Okay. Top fiber will be subjected to the tension. Therefore, what I have done is here F superior means the stress at the top fiber is equal to 0. Is how much? Sorry, is equal to minus 0.7. Okay, is equal to 0.7. Minus why it is minus? Because it is a tensile stress. He mentioned that tensile stress minus 0.7 Newton per mm square. Okay. So this is at transfer condition. At transfer condition, what are the loads are there in this figure? Okay, here it is there. At transfer condition, what are the loads existing? Dead load is there, pre-stressing force is there. Okay, so we need to take into consideration of stresses due to dead load and the pre-stressing force. Okay, therefore, the F superior equal to 0 will be P by A, okay, minus P by Z plus mg by Z is equal to 0. Okay, there is no live load. We are considering the stresses at the transfer condition. Therefore, plus P by A minus P by ZT, minus P by Z plus mg by Z is equal to 0. That condition I'll write here. Are you understanding, students? Are you understanding any
Yes.
doubts? Okay. Therefore, F superior is equal to P by A minus P by Z plus mg by Z is equal to minus 0.7. Call this as equation number 1. Okay, call this as equation number 1. If you want as a note, you can write in the bracket. Okay, at transfer tensile stress takes place at top fiber that is F superior okay. Now at transfer we have taken the tensile stress in the concrete is minus 0.7 Newton per mm square. Now what we'll do, we'll consider the second case at service condition. Similarly at service condition here at service condition where will the tensile stresses will be induced. See when for the same yes, so this is a transfer condition, okay, without lie load. See when you apply the lie load here, okay, when you apply the lie load here, then what will happen is it will be reversed, okay. The bottom fiber will be undergone for tensile stresses and top fiber will be subjected to the compressive stresses. It will be reverse in case when you apply the lie load, okay, when you apply the lie load it will be reverse, okay. Therefore tensile stress will take place at the bottom fiber, okay. Tensile stress will take place at the bottom fiber when you apply the live load. Therefore the formula will be F inferior is equal to minus 0.7 Newton per mm square, okay. So what will be the F inferior value? Means resultant stress at the bottom fiber. I will go to the diagram once again. Resultant stress at the bottom fiber will be P by A plus P by Z minus mg by zb minus mq by zb, okay. So at service condition we should take this lie load also. So summation of all these things will be equal to minus 0.7, that is P by A plus PE by ZB minus mg by zb minus mq by z. The same condition I will write here. Therefore F inferior is equal to P by A plus PE by Z minus mg by Z minus mq by Z is equal to minus 0.7. Okay. Here also you can write a small note. At service condition, tensile stress takes place. Tensile stress takes place at bottom fiber. At bottom fiber. That is F inferior. Okay. Now call this as equation number 2. Okay, call it as equation number 2. Now it is in the problem he also said that consider 20% loss in the pre-stress after transfer, means at service condition. Assume 20% loss in the pre-stress after transfer, means at service condition we should take a loss of pre-stress of 20%. So considering 20% loss of pre-stress, below rate, considering considering 20% loss of pre-stress, it becomes 20% means remaining will be 80%. So it becomes F inferior is equal to 0.8p divided by A plus 0.8pe divided by Z minus mg by Z minus mq by Z. Call this as equation number 3. Okay. Now you find all the, now using these two equations means equation 1 and 3. Okay, equation 1 and 3. We will get to know about what is the eccentricity of the cable required. Okay, if you get to know about eccentricity, you can you will come to know about what is the exact position of the cable from the soffit of the beam. Okay, here eccentricity is unknown. Okay, the pre-stressing force that we will find it, area of cross section A is equal to so pre-stressing force in the problem how much it is given 360 into 10 power 3 Newton. This is at transfer condition. Okay, this is at transfer condition. So at working condition we don't know the what is the exactly the pre-stressing force. Okay, P is unknown. Let it be as it is. Area cross sectional area of the slab is known. How much it is? It is 1 meter by 380 mm. That area we have calculated already 38 into 10 power 4. And Z is known. That is how much? 24.06 into 10 power 6. mm cube. Okay. Then mg and mq we need to calculate self weight of the slab for 1 meter width. Okay, for 1 meter width you calculate the self weight of the slab because we are doing the design for 1 meter width. And lie load also we can calculate it. Okay, lie load intensity is given, that is 25 kilonewton per meter square. Using that you can calculate mg and mq. Try to calculate both the things. Try to calculate, first you calculate mg, self weight of the slab for 1 meter width you calculate and tell me the answer. First to write a small diagram to calculate the mg and mq. So to find mg, means self weight of the slab per meter length you find first. Okay, so this is 1000 mm, this is the depth is 380 mm, 380 mm. So how to find the self weight of the beam, self weight of the slab here for 1 meter length? it will be therefore dead load of slab, okay, that is for 1 meter width is equal to 0.38 into, that is cross sectional area multiplied by density. Cross sectional area is known, that is 38 into 10 power 4. Okay, 38 into 10 power 4 is the cross sectional area multiplied by density. This is in the form of mm cube. Okay, but density is in terms of kilonewton per meter cube. You substitute this cross sectional area or convert this cross sectional area into meter cube. If you convert it into meter cube, it will be how much? It will be 10 power minus 3 whole square. Okay, mm square to meter square I have converted into density is 24 kilonewton per meter cube. What is the answer? Sulfate. How much?
9.5, sir.
9.5 ah?
Yes, sir.
9.12.
Yes, 9.12 I got. 12. So what is the unit here? It is kilonewton per meter. Okay. You substituted the cross sectional area in terms of meter square. This is kilonewton per meter cube. Finally, it will be 9.12 kilonewton per meter. Okay. The length is known. Total length, it is 10 meter. Now you can calculate the bending moment. Therefore, mg is equal to wgl square by 8. 9.12 into length is 10 meters divided by 8. How much?
114, sir.
Is 114 kilonewton meter. Okay. Then live load moment also you can calculate. Mq is equal to live load moment is equal to WQL square by 8. Okay. You can see the live load over the slab is given as 25 kilonewton per meter square. Okay, it is given as 25 kilonewton per meter square. First you convert this into kilonewton per meter. Okay, so over the slab, okay, for 1 meter square area of the slab, 25 kilonewton is the force. Okay, that is the meaning here. So you convert this load, okay, load into kilonewton per meter. How to convert? Just you multiply with the width of the slab. Okay, width of the slab, then it will be converted into kilonewton per meter run of the slab. Okay, understanding? Here the load intensity given in the slab, given on the slab is per meter square area. Okay, you multiply any one of the dimension. If you multiply with the width of the slab, then you will get load per meter run of the slab. Therefore 25 into, it is 25 kilonewton per meter square. Therefore 25 into WQ is equal to, therefore WQ is equal to 25 into 1 meter width of the slab. If you multiply, you will get intensity of the load as 25 kilonewton per meter. Okay, so the length of the slab is 10 meter. The moment becomes mq. Therefore, live load moment mq is equal to 25 into 10 square divided by 8. How much?
312.5, sir.
Yes, 312.5 kilonewton meter. Okay. Now what you do is you use both equation 1 and 2, substitute this mg and mq value in equation 1 and 3. You will get two linear equations. Solving both the equations, you will get to know about the eccentricity and the P force. Okay. Therefore, equation 1 becomes P by A minus P by Z. Area is known, no? Substitute the area. P by A, area is 38 into 10 power 4 is the cross-sectional area. P by A is over. Next is P by Z plus P by section modulus is how much? 24.06 into 10 power 6. 24.10 power 6. Okay. P by Z, then minus mg by Z. Minus mg is 114 kilonewton meter. In terms of Newton mm, it is 114 into 10 power 6 Newton millimeter. Okay. Therefore, 114 into 10 power 6 divided by Z is 24.06 into 10 power 6 minus mq by Z. mq is 312.5 into 10 power 6 Newton millimeter. Therefore, 312.5 into 10 power 6 divided by 24.06 into 10 power 6 is equal to minus 0.7. Okay, here we have minus 0.7. So simplify this equation. 1 by 38 into 10 power 4, how much?
Two 2.63 into 10 power minus 6, sir.
2.631, correct. 631 into 10 power minus 6 P plus 1 divided by 24.06 into 10 power 6.
4.15 into 10 power minus 8.
Okay, 4.15 into 10 power minus 8. This is minus, no? P by A minus P by Z. Here I'll change it. .15 into 10 power minus 8 P into E minus
4.7, please.
Just a minute, something is wrong. Here only mg by Z, right? Plus mg by Z. This is not there. I think I referred this third equation while entering the things. I'll just so P by A minus P by Z and plus mg by Z is equal to minus 0.7 plus 114 into 10 power 6 divided by 24.06 into 10 power 6, and you take this minus 0.7 to the LHS and tell me the value, how much you will get. You calculate this value plus 0.7. Tell me what is the answer.
5.43, sir.
5.43 is equal to 0. Call this as equation number 4. Okay. Now use this equation number 3. Okay. Substitute all the values, Z value, mg, mq and area. You will get one more equation now. Therefore 0.8 P by A, equation 3 becomes 0.8 P divided by 38 into 10 power 4. See 0.8 P by A, then plus 0.8 P by Z plus 0.8 P by 24.06 into 10 power 6 plus P by Z minus mg by Z and minus mq by Z minus 114 into 10 power 6 divided by 24.06 into 10 power 6 minus mq by Z. mq is that 312.5 into 10 power 6. 312.5 into 10 power 6 divided by 24.06 into 10 power 6 is equal to minus 0.7. You will get one more equation now. Zero 0.8 divided by 38 into 10 power 4. How much?
2.10 into 10 power minus 6, sir.
10 into 10 power minus 6 P plus 0.8 divided by 24.06 into 10 power 6.
3.10 into 10 power minus 8.
Then minus this constant. You add both these terms and plus 0.7 you do and tell me the final value.
16.99, sir. Minus 16.99.
Okay, you can write 17 is equal to 0. Call this as equation number 5. Okay. Now solving equation 4 and 5. Okay. Now you assume this P is equal to X and P is equal to Y. Okay. Assume P is equal to X and P equal to Y and find the value of X and Y. Got it? Don't get confused with there are three unknowns like that. Okay. P, this whole P term is taken as an unknown. Okay. By solving both the linear equations, you will get P value and PE value. How much? P is equal to
minus 3.006 into 10 power 6.
minus 3 point. I have different answer here.
No, sir, it's correct. Minus 3.006 only, sir.
Minus 3.006 into
10 power 6.
10 power 6. It will be Newton. Okay. P value how much?
Minus 321.42 into 10 power 6.
42 into 10 power 6. Okay. Now you can find eccentricity, right? You substitute P is equal to minus 3.006 into 10 power 6 into E is equal to minus 321.42 into 10 power 6. Now this minus gets cancelled. Finally, you get the eccentricity required.
One not 6.92, sir.
106.92 mm. So I think while giving the inputs in the calculator, it is given as plus 17 and this should be given as minus 5.43. Okay, but because the calculator will consider the equation like this, right? Ax plus by is equal to c. In this format it will consider, I think. So while inputting, if you input with opposite signs, you will get positive values. Okay, anyway, you got the eccentricity 106.92 mm. Okay, so the eccentricity of the cable should be 106.92 mm. You write a small diagram here. This is the centroidal axis. So eccentricity is how much? 106.92. E is equal to 106.92 mm. Overall depth of the beam is how much? 380 mm. Overall depth of the slab. It is 380 divided by 2. If you do, we will get total is 380. So 380 divided by 2 is 190. We will get 190. 190. Therefore, you can calculate what should be the distance of the or location of the cable from the soffit. Okay. This distance actually we needed. Okay. In the problem, we have asked this distance only. What should be the location of the cable at the center from the soffit of the beam? Therefore, here you write distance of cable from soffit at center of the span at center is equal to 190 minus eccentricity. 190 minus 106.42. How much you'll get?
$83.58, sir.
Yes, 3.5. Okay. There is one more question in the problem. You can see. And their lowest possible position at the support. At the support also he had asked what should be the position of the cable. At the center we have determined now. Okay. At the center, cable is located at a distance of 83.5 mm from the soffit of the beam. Similarly, at the support, what is the location of the cable? That is the one more question. For that, you take any one of the equation below, right, to find lowest possible position of cable at support. Okay. Now at support, what will be the value of mg and the mq? What will be the value of mg and mq at support? I am asking, not at the center of the span.
0.
It will be 0, right? It will be 0 at the support and WL square by 8 at the center of the span. So it is 0. Okay. Now you take the equation 1. Okay. Equation 1. You substitute mg equal to 0. It becomes p by a plus minus p by z is equal to minus 0.7. Okay. Here you write. See here, if you substitute plus 17, I think you will get this sign as plus. Am I right? While giving the input, how you have given with negative sign or with positive sign you have given?
Negative, sir.
Negative. You change it to positive. The final answer what you get is positive only. This p. Okay, it will not be negative. You can you cross check once again and tell me. You should give input with positive sign only. On the RHS, whatever the sign it will get, that sign you need to give as input. So this becomes plus, I think. Am I right? Check it and tell me. Because in the next step here, if you consider negative sign, we may arrive at wrong answer. You will get positive sign right here. Solving equation 4 and 5. Here you need to give plus 17 and here you need to give minus 5.43.
Yes, sir, will get positive, sir.
Yes, positive. You please change it to positive sign. Using this equation 1, therefore equation 1 becomes equation 1 is p by a minus pe by z. This mg is 0 at the support. Only p by a minus pe by z is equal to minus 0.7. That p we have already determined. It is 3.006 into 10 power 6. 3.006 into 10 power 6 p value divided by area is 38 into 10 power 4 minus pe by z. It is 3.006 into 10 power 6. Okay, eccentricity only we need to find at the support. Okay, at the support eccentricity we need to find pe by z. Z value is 24.06 into 10 power 6. 24.06 into 10 power 6 is equal to minus 0.7. So by this you will get required eccentricity at the support. Tell me the answer.
69.43, sir.
Yes, 69.43 mm. Okay, so you can write one more diagram representing eccentricity at the support. Okay, here at the center it is 106.42. At the support, eccentricity is equal to 69.43. Here distance of the cable from the soffit is 83.5 mm. 83.5 mm. Here 83.5 mm. Similarly, at the support you find the distance of the cable from the soffit of the beam from here to here. This will be a 190 mm distance of neutral axis from the soffit. Therefore, distance of the cable from soffit is equal to, from here to here it is 190 minus this eccentricity at the support 69.43. If you do, you will get distance of cable from the soffit at the support. How much you will get?
120.57, sir.
120.
0.57.
Okay, 120.5 mm. Okay, this is how the location of the cable is to be determined. Here you mention it 120.5 mm. Okay, at the center the cable is located at a distance of 83.5 mm from the soffit of the beam. At the support the cable is located at a distance of 120.5 mm from the soffit of the beam. So this completes the problem. So to this the model 3 is over. Okay, model 3 is over, and I'll share this course material in your WhatsApp group as well as in the MS Teams also. I'll upload this course material. All of you download and go through it. Okay, for your second internal, up to here the syllabus will be there. Okay, up to model 3. Okay, up to model 3 syllabus is there. All of you prepare for model 3 and model 1. Okay, in the model 1 I think half of the syllabus was included in the first year. Remaining half of the model remaining half of the model 2 and model 3 full will be the syllabus for your second year. Okay, so from the next class I will start with the model 4. Okay, that is also a very easy model. Okay, so in model 3 you can get the full marks in your examination. Nothing is there, right? Simple procedures are there. Only in design, in last problem I think you might have faced some difficulties in understanding, but remaining rest of all the problems are easy only. Okay, I'll take the attendance. Apurva? Apurva? Samim? Sumit Kumar?
Present, sir.